Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and you're watching Glenda's Dragon's Den. LD took another day off. He is helping me out with a couple of things, so he cannot make it today. But, you know, you'll see him soon enough. So for today, first of all, I want to thank you all for being here week after week, for liking the videos, for sharing, for subscribing, no matter what platform you have. I thank you from deep within my heart and welcome. And again, if you have any questions, just email me at glendasmagicalcreations.com, or you can find me in any social media from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook, so on, so on, so on. So today I have a very, very special guest. She does so much for the community. She is a wonderful person. She's got a great soul. And I'm just going to let her tell you all about herself and what she does. Welcome, Amy Robeson. How are you?
Hi, Glenda. I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. So tell the audience who loves to hear about my guests.
I'm an Akashic Record Master Teacher. I teach people how to open the records for themselves and for others. I also am a light language teacher, transmission, conduit. I speak light language. I teach light language. I love light language. It's really weird. It's really funky. It's something I didn't originally want to do, but my guides just kind of told me I needed to do it. And so I do that. I also do like DNA activations and work with the DNA a lot, work with crystals. And my big thing is teaching everybody it's okay to be human while we're having this human experience, because life is complicated and it's a beautiful, messy, complicated experience, but we get to do it. So why not own it and honor it?
Exactly, exactly. So, when did you start doing all this, or one came in and the other one came in, or was it your?
I started talking to angels when I was a little kid.
Mhm.
So if I look back at it, like I was always super connected as a kid, but I lost that connection as I got older. And then I found it again. So I found it through yoga when I was in a really dark, deep place. I wanted to not be here anymore. And so I just kept hearing. And at the time, I didn't have intuitive guidance. I didn't have those words. It was intuitive guidance. I just kept hearing, like, I need to go to yoga. And like, so I found a studio that was like a block or like a couple blocks from my house. And they were brand new. And it like opened my eyes to all sorts of different things. And I just started following the energy that presented itself to me. And then I started remembering things because, you know, as a kid, I would talk to angels, I would talk to aliens, I would talk to like all sorts of different beings. And they always helped me. Like they always helped me. They always helped me feel good. Like I grew up in a strange household. My stepdad was an alcoholic. And so like I needed to find peace. And that was the way that I found peace. And then I like found my first teacher and started doing all sorts of different weird things, from dream interpretations to chakra balancing exorcisms, hands-on healings. I started tapping into the Akashic Records very unconsciously. And then it just kind of one thing led to the other. And now I'm here, which is really funny because this is something I would have never thought I'd be doing.
Yes, yes, they do. They do show you the way. It's just a matter of being open to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you do ancestral healing.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know there a lot of people are always wondering what that means.
Yeah. So from the moment your soul is incepted, your soul starts to experience whatever it is it's experiencing. So
Mm-hmm.
you have your soul lineage and then you have your ancestral lineage. And it's really important to set that context first, because
Mm-hmm.
your soul has had many experiences, and then you come into this lifetime and you are connected to your ancestral lineage through your bloodlines.
Mm-hmm.
And your soul lineage and your ancestral lineage can be very different from one another. And you can have very different belief systems than your ancestors had from this lifetime, from this bloodline. And when we come into body, we pick our families, we pick our mother, we pick our hair, we pick our skin color, we pick our body type, we pick all of that stuff. And we pick those things for a particular reason to evolve as a soul. And so sometimes we are born into amazing families, and sometimes we are born into families that are just downright crazy. And it just, it's what our soul wants to experience. And so part of our grand awakening that we are going through right now, the ancestors are coming through in masses. They want to help heal the bloodlines.
Mm-hmm.
They want generational curses, generational patterns, generational habits to be broke, because they don't want them to continue in the bloodline moving forward. And I just got back from a big expo, the Conscious Life Expo in LA, and
Mm-hmm.
I did an ancestral bloodline healing there. And when I opened the records, because I do everything inside of the Akashic Records,
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Who wants to come forward?" And it was like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of ancestors that wanted to come forward to come help, because they have many things that they can share from us, because they're sharing it from a different perspective than what we can see in our human experience.
Right.
And they're wanting to heal, and they're wanting to help us heal as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
so
good.
we can do that through the records. We can do it through many different modalities. The way that I usually do it is through the Akashic Records.
Right. Right. Um, Now you said you work with crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you use your crystals in your practice?
Several different ways. The way that I teach people how to open up their Akashic records, we use crystal and energy to open
Mm-hmm.
them up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pull in crystal and energy into all of my healings. So through healings, activations, and attunements, we'll pull in crystal and energy. And
Mm-hmm.
then physically, you can work with the crystals for like meditation or I mean, there's so many different ways that you can work with a crystal. You can do grid work. You can grid your home. You can set up a grid to manifest something. You can set up a grid to assist in protection or
Mm-hmm.
assist in connecting with your ancestors. There's you can just meditate, hold them. Like there's so many ways that you can use them.
That's very true. Very true. Now, I know you were in a dark place and you were directed to go to yoga, and things just now came one right after another. Do you feel that all this work is an extension of you, or is it? Do you feel that sometimes you're looking at yourself doing this stuff and you're like, "What the heck am I doing?" Right? Yeah, I just.
I just, I'm a big believer, follow the energy that presents itself to you and just get out of your own way.
Mm-hmm.
And because I never once would have thought that this is what I was to do, but I did have this yearning to do something more, because I had my previous career was a great career, and like I had a really good job, and people thought I was nuts when I left. Like they absolutely thought I was nuts. And but I knew in my heart that that's not what I was meant to do, and I was meant to help people. That's all I knew. I was like, that's the only thing that I knew
Right.
because I wanted to help people, but I didn't know what it was.
Mhm.
And so my first spiritual teacher, she told me, she's like, you need to go back to school. And I'm like, go back to school? Like, what do you mean? Like, go back to school? And like, my perception was go back to college.
Right.
And it wasn't. It was, I need to start studying. And like,
Mhm.
I did. I just started studying anything that literally made my heart illuminate. And I had no intention of ever using it. I
Mhm.
just wanted to use it for myself. And that's how most of my students are too, where they'll come into Sacred Awakening, my Akashic Record program, and they're like, I'm just going to learn how to do this for myself. And then
Right.
all of a sudden now they're running businesses, giving readings or doing healings. And they're like, I would have never thought I would have done this. And
Mhm.
that's the cool part is like, when the student's ready, the modality starts speaking to them.
Yeah.
And so the Akashic Record starts speaking to people when they're ready. Like for me, I started just knowing things. Like nobody taught me them. I just
Mhm.
knew them.
Mhm.
For example, like light language, I started being guided to start speaking light language. And I argued with my guides. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's weird. Like, it's so weird. Why do you want me to do that? And they're like, trust us. Like it's important.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, fine. Like, and so I started speaking it. And then I remembered my older sister and I would speak light language to each other when we were little kids. And we knew
Mhm.
exactly what each other was saying when we
Mhm.
would speak it. And I was like, I totally forgot all about that. And I do like online, like, I just got done doing like a free event online. And I speak light language in front of people and I set context for it. And that's one
Oh.
of the, like the biggest things that I get feedback on. And they're like, I just love it. I don't even know what it is, but I love it and it
Mhm.
feels good. And
Mhm.
so to me, when I get feedback like that, that tells me that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm following what I'm supposed to be doing. And I I I am still human. Like I still think like this is weird, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yes, I understand completely. Sometimes it just starts happening and you're like, wait, hold on. What language am I speaking? I understand completely. I speak light language to my daughter, who's just a toddler, and her and I, we understand each other, and everybody around me is looking at me like, "What you doing?" Like,
Oh, that's cute.
yeah, it's like so, and she blah, blah, blah,
How
blah,
old
blah,
is
blah.
she?
She's not even 2. She's like 18
Oh,
months.
that's awesome. I have a 3-year-old.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a perfect time because they're still open.
Yeah.
They're still
We
extremely open.
chant a lot. We
Yeah,
chant a lot. And chanting, it has the seed sounds, and the seed sounds are all a part of light language.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yes, so I understand, and the first few times I did it, I was like, "Oh, this just sounds like gibberish," but I felt so good afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It just felt good. I was like, "Okay."
Yes, it connects with the higher self, and the higher self knows exactly what's being said because it's frequency.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing. Frequency, your higher self understands frequency. The human mind doesn't have to understand it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's just frequency.
Mhm. Um, so you use crystalline energy. I'm gonna go back to that a little bit. Um, how do you activate the crystalline energy in the chakras, in the aura field or uric field?
So it just depends.
Mhm.
So if someone wants to, the easiest way to use crystalline energy to is to actually just work with the physical crystal.
Right.
You just touching it is coming into your auric field. It's starting to work with you. Every little crystal or big crystal, it doesn't matter the size. Size doesn't matter on potency and what it
Mhm.
can do. Um, it Every single crystal has a little light being in it that wants to support. Not every crystal is meant to work with you. So don't get mad if the crystal doesn't want to work with you.
Right.
You'll usually know if the crystal wants to work with you if you can't stop thinking about it, or you've you're walking around a crystal store and you realize you still have it in your hand,
Right.
that's usually a sign that it wants to work with you. That's the easiest way to start working with the crystal and energy, because like, for example, with my Sacred Awakening students, with my Akashic Record course, we send everybody a crystal kit. And because we're working with abstract concepts,
Mm-hmm.
you have something tangible to hold on to that allows you to get a physical connection. And then it also opens up your clair of touch. And that clair is going to help you start to gather information as well.
Right. Yeah, it's like play around with mine all the time.
Yeah, it's so yummy and it makes you feel good.
Yeah, and it helps you get in touch with the energy that's around also.
Yes.
Because it's the way I use it as a conduit to just gather the energy, especially if I'm tired like today. So tell us, when you started doing this, was your family with you, or did they, kind of give you a little hesitation?
I'm very fortunate. Like, I'm very, very fortunate. My grandma was a tarot card reader, astrology reader. My grandma taught me how to do tarot cards when I was little. So my family was very into this, even my step family. Like, so none of my family gave me a hard time. My mom was concerned in terms of other things, not what I was doing, but how others could perceive it. But all of my family supports me in it. I'm very, very fortunate. My husband, when I first started, he was confused. He was very confused, but he was just like, just do. I trust whatever you're gonna do, just do it.
Right.
And it's funny because now he attracts people that he knows we would be best friends. So, but fortunately, I've had a family that has support me with it. I know that not everybody has that. And I think that I'm fortunate in that sense, because I don't have to deal with that extra thing. I do have a lot of clients where either their family or their spouse is very against it. But I am a big believer that you got to trust your heart, because once you go down this path and you start seeing or connecting with things, you can't unsee the truth. You can't. And once you see the truth, it's hard to close that door without getting extremely sick. And so also, the way you go about your spirituality does not have to match your family's. Because your path is your path. And like, I'll give this example. Like, I meditate, and when my husband decided he wanted to start meditating, I learned a very different way than he was wanting to learn. And he hands me this book that he's going to learn from, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, totally not my cup of tea, but you do you. And it got him meditating, and he started meditating 2 times a day, and it was great. But if I would have said, no, that's the wrong way, no, you shouldn't be doing it that way, that would have completely deterred him from taking his steps on his path. And our paths do not have to look the same. We do need to have similar values, though. And that's the most important thing.
Correct. You have said very, very true facts there, and very important facts. We could agree to disagree as long as our foundation is the same.
Yeah.
So tell me, how do you teach or do the activation, the DNA activation?
Okay, so I love DNA activations. So we have trillions and trillions and trillions of cells in our body. We have over 32 trillion, 32 trillion cells. I think it's higher now from latest research, and I forget the number. But not all of the cells have DNA, but the majority of those cells do have DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And it is throughout our lifetime that we are to activate our cells. And so we can activate our DNA through meditation, through spiritual practices. We're activating DNA throughout our lifetime. And then I have a course that's called the DNA Awakening Accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we purposely go in and activate DNA and restructure it. And I do a specific process to hold the actual activation, because sometimes some activations, they fade over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, and I do it every time I teach the course, I do it on myself as well, because that's how much I really think it's really important to work
Mm-hmm.
on your DNA, because every strand of DNA holds information for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that information is to unlock gifts, to unlock information, to assist in healing habits, patterns, or thoughts that are destructive. And we can do spiritual practices and they activate. And then through DNA activations and restructure, what process I was shown to do, and I do everything inside of the Akashic Records, is it allows people to have a completely different experience based on what strands are activated. So we activate 24 strands at a time, and I have students that come back every single round for the next one, because
Mm-hmm.
it just like keeps building.
Right.
And so it just depends. So sometimes it's like this crazy wild ride where it's like, we're going to go fast, we're going to go hard with this, because those were the strands that wanted to be activated, and there's something really big. And then it could be the next activation could be really soft and very gentle, where it's like, what happened? Where it was supposed to be gentle, because this is an integration process, and there's something really soft opening up, where it's like allowing you to see things in a different way and allowing you to slow down in a different way. And so every time you activate DNA, it can be very, 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 very different. But we want to activate our DNA. We want to restructure. And the restructure process is very unique and different, because when our consciousness fell, there were dark forces that placed certain seals on the earth to keep us reincarnating, to put us into amnesia where we forget. And
Mm-hmm.
when we remove these particular seals from the physical body and from the DNA, we start awakening very, very quickly, like
Mm-hmm.
very, very quickly. And we can't just go, I want 32 trillion cells to activate right now, because your physical nervous system would combust.
Right. 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 I agree with you. And it's a very good point that you made, that people think that DNA activation is a one-time deal. It really isn't.
It's not, it's lifetime.
Yeah, you activate these cells, and then those cells start to spark the other cells, and when you come back, you activate those, and so on, so on, so on. Um, the number could change. Science could find that's even more cells than.
Well, every time I do it, it's like they find more cells.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's insane. Like, the cool part is we live in such an amazing time right now that our technology is accelerating at a rapid pace. And the science is just finally catching up to some of the things that spiritual teachers have been talking about for decades.
Exactly.
And it's cool to witness.
Yes, because finally you can take the science and spirituality, combine them, and see that neither one was right and neither one was wrong. They're just telling the same story, just in a different way.
Differently.
So,
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit of how you can access your Akashic Records, and a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I teach people how to access their Akashic records using the crystalline energy. We use a very simple, easy process that I teach in Sacred Awakening. So most of my students can usually open their records and access information really quickly. So it could be a 1 or 2 minute process depending on if they're super grounded or not. Sometimes if you're not grounded, it might take a little bit longer. And then I teach people how to use their records for the past, the present, and the future. There's many different ways to use the Akashic records, many different teachers out there and the way that they perceive it. For me, I look at the Akashic records as a life tool, meaning it's going to support me in all areas of my life. And I'm not only going to focus on the past, because if you only focus on the past, one, that gets really dark and heavy really quickly. And it's a tool that you might not want to lean into every day, because who wants to look at problems every single day?
Right.
Where we want it to also be fun. And that's the big rule that I have when I'm teaching is I want you to have fun with it. Like, have fun, ask fun questions. You can ask the hard questions, but ask more fun questions, because as adults, we forget to have fun. We forget that we are just innocent children and that we are meant to have childlike wonder. And so get curious about things, have fun while you're doing it. And so for me, I'll teach the past, the present, and the future. So you can ask questions like, why do I have this habit? They might show you this past life and we heal that past life. Or you might go, hey, what's a good color for me to wear today that will make me feel super calm yet powerful at the same time? Or what can I make for dinner? Or why am I having such a hard time communicating my feelings with my partner? They're going to answer all those questions for you through the lens of love, without judgment.
Right. Very good. Very good. So you have a lot of classes, and do you have any classes coming up? Do you have any events coming up that we
we will be doing, most likely, we just got done finishing up our Soul Evolution Masterclass series, which is a 10-day free series that I do for our Akashic Record program. We'll do that again later this year. And then our next free event will be spring equinox. I do like a free healing every season change. And then we'll also be doing the DNA stuff coming up in April.
Nice.
Yeah.
And they
I'll
could
do a free event for that.
Right. And they could find all this at your website.
Yes. They could go to my website, theamyrobeson.com. And if you go to theamyrobeson.com/free, we put our free events there. I also have 20+ free healings on there. And then if you are interested in something, you can also sign up for the wait list or join. I have tons of free stuff, because I'm a big believer in giving back to the community. So we usually have something free going on once a month.
Right. So am I. So thank you for being part of that. Is there anything that our audience should know that you always stress?
That it is okay to be human. This is really important, especially in the spiritual community. There's a lot of toxic positivity where, well, if I'm spiritual, I can't be thinking that bad thought. No, it's okay if you think that bad thought. It's acknowledging that it's a lower vibrational thought. And why are you thinking that thought is the question. And how does that thought make you feel? And can you give yourself permission to feel that feeling? Because that's the part where most people miss, is the feeling part. If you give yourself permission to feel the feeling, you'll actually process it quicker, faster, in a healthier way, and you can move on to the next thing that you want to move on to, instead of ignoring that you're mad or ignoring that you're angry. Because guess what? You push it down, you're eventually going to blow like a volcano. And it's not going to be in the most inopportune time. It's going to be awful. And we are meant to experience human things. And
Mhm.
part of the human experience is feeling your feelings and eating delicious food and going and connecting in nature and remembering that you are whole and complete and that you are creation. Creation is you, and
Mhm.
that you get to have this experience. And all of the experiences are exactly what you're meant to have. We
Mhm.
label them bad or good, but we are meant to have character building experiences so our soul evolves, because you came into this lifetime for a particular reason and you want to have certain experiences. Not all of them are rosy, not all of them
Mhm.
are butterflies and rainbows. Some of them are, but some of them are gut wrenching, and
Mhm.
we're going to grieve. Like, no one's getting out of here alive, which means you're going to grieve loss.
Right.
And that loss is people you love, or things or experiences that you lost, or jobs that you had, or opportunities that you had. You're going to grieve, and it's all a part of the experience. And it's really important to understand that and to befriend the experience and choose how you're going to react instead of allowing it to knock you down. Because once you allow it to knock you down, you get shackled to the past and you just keep repeating the same things over and over again, and that's not fun.
Mhm.
Definition of chaos.
Right. Correct. Correct. Um, so we had talked about this, and I had given permission for you to
Yeah.
do this. So um, let's read something. Read
Okay,
your
I'll do a
well,
little reading for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I have the records already open, so but just a sec, I just want to because they're telling me to, the guardians are telling me to have you just kind of center, go down into your heart space. So take a nice deep breath in, take an exhale out, and bring your awareness down into your heart space. So go a little bit lower and a little bit further back. And I know you mentioned you are tired today. Knowing that you said that, I want you to just breathe into your body, and I want you to ask your body, why does it feel so, and I'm hearing the word exhausted. And I want you to ask your physical body, not your mental body,
Mhm.
your physical body. And then let me know what it says.
Didn't get enough sleep.
Didn't get enough sleep. Okay, great. Okay. Is that, you can open your eyes, Glenda. Is that a typical thing for you, is not getting enough sleep?
Uh, it depends. I sometimes get woken up by the archangels and all that for messages and what I call jobs, you know. So
Okay.
every once in a while, the sleep is not straight. So
Okay, great.
yeah.
So, what the guardians are saying is it's really important that you start putting up clear working boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can hear them doesn't mean you're available.
Right.
And they're saying that it's like office hours. You have office hours for
Mm-hmm.
your work, like
Mm-hmm.
your
Right.
podcast, things like that, your shows, your clients, things like that. And they're saying you can do the same thing
Mm-hmm.
with spirit, where it's like, here's my office hours. I know that this is important. You can communicate with me anytime because you are multidimensional.
Right.
My physical body requires sleep, because what they're showing me is, the term burning the candle on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
But it's literally down to only an inch on both sides. Like, you don't have very much left.
Mm-hmm.
And they're wanting me to share what I channeled this message early in February when I was at this expo, and they're wanting me to say it again, because this is also for your audience, that sleep is going to be the most important thing this year, because things are rapidly changing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to check in, to ask your body, and we'll do this in just a second,
Mm-hmm.
how many hours of sleep it requires. in order to feel properly rested. And then making it a point to set up good sleep hygiene for that. And for you, it's setting a boundary with the guides that talk to you that says, this is the window I want you to talk to me now in. I can't talk to you in the middle of the night right now because it is absolutely crucial. And you have a toddler too. So like they're
Yeah.
pretty unpredictable sometimes in terms of sleep too. And so it's like, it's setting, I just see you really setting very clear boundaries, and you're going to start getting rapid messages coming forward more during working hours during the day, where it's like, it's going to be so easy for you to then just feel more rested because you're not using two channels. And so everybody can do this as long as you're not driving. Close your eyes and bring your awareness into your heart space. And then just take a nice deep breath in, cleansing breath out. Remind yourself you're safe. So you can say, I am safe. I deserve rest. I'm cocooned in love. And I want you to breathe in. And as you're breathing in, I want you to imagine that black tourmaline crystalline energy, selenite, which is white, rose quartz, which is pink, and it's just going to just come in and it's going to swirl all around you. It's going to assist in grounding, assist you in rooting, assist you in being enveloped and loved. The selenite's going to clear out your entire auric field. And then I want you to trust the first thing you hear, sense, feel, or imagine or see. How many hours of sleep does your body require for the most optimal rest? What's the first thing you get?
10.
Awesome. Are you shocked by that?
Yes.
Good. I will tell you that I also got that number earlier, and I was like, you want me to sleep 10 hours? And I was like, okay. And I have been sleeping 9 to 10 hours and I still don't feel like it's enough. I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust it. And just a side note that they're wanting me to emphasize, women require more sleep than men.
Oh, okay.
They really honestly do. And that if you are, whatever number you got, trust. And if you got a low number, I want you to check in again, which Glenda, you didn't get a low number.
I was expecting maybe 7, 8, and
no, it's 10.
Wow.
And it's not forever. I see you going down to 8, 9.
Right.
8, 9 in like mid-August. But from now until mid-August, try getting 10 hours of sleep, when it means like really they're saying like you could set up an altar and say all the messages you want to bring to me in the middle of the night, just dump them in this bowl of water. You can just put a bowl of water on your altar. Right. And you could just touch the water, and I see you actually receiving a ton of messages. I don't know if that's a practice that you do now, but
I do, not necessarily at night, but I do have my altar with the water, and just, I do.
They're saying that will be something that will change. And as a mom with a toddler myself, my spiritual practices are constantly changing. And they're saying you can do a lot more during working hours than what you're doing now. And that's going to fuel you like nothing else. And you're going to actually go to bed at a different hours where it's going to feel really good and you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Because part of it is like you're so used to receiving at nighttime that you feel like you're going to miss something. You're not. So it's going to take about, they're saying 2 to 3 months to get used to it. Yes. I'm like, weeks? And they're like, no, months. And I'm like, I'm checking in a couple of times. No, they're saying 2 to 3 months because you've done this way for so long that once you start getting in the rhythm, I see like it really taking off, where you're gonna be like, why didn't I start this sooner?
Well, I am 62, so all that time I've been doing it that way because that's just the way it's been. And I do try to shut down many times, but there's every once in a while, like what they call an emergency. And those I have to kind of still let go because those are the ones that they call me up and they say, you got to go, say, to Dunkin' Donuts and talk to a person there. And that just means that
In
that
the middle of
person,
the night?
it could
Or
be that that person is at the edge.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And just by me acknowledging that they exist and just, hey,
mm-hmm.
oh, I see you're having trouble sleeping myself, and da da da. And just by having that conversation could turn their whole energy focus into something else more positive.
Yeah,
So,
trust this process.
mm, yeah,
So the some of the emergencies will start to go, and you'll get different ones that you're going to be utilized in a different way during the day.
yeah,
But I just see you with the bowl of water and you touching it, and you get so much information, like
cool.
so much information.
That works for me.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, Glenda. And then a message for your audience is to trust your deep inner instincts. And there's these animal like qualities, animal like instincts that animals have because they know when they're um, able to move gracefully through something, or if they need to run.
Hmm.
And they're saying that it's so important for people to start trusting those instincts, and the instincts will then turn into deep profound knowings. But
Hmm.
it first starts with the instincts, and it's resetting and recalibrating the system, and that goes to directly with the sleep. And more sleep is required now because we're in a numerology year of 8, which is quick manifesting.
Right.
And we're actually prepping a lot of the things that we do in this year. We'll see a lot of rewards next year for. And so the sleep is beyond required because you're not going to be able to see the beautiful synchronicities. And there's lots of things that people are missing,
Hmm.
that because they're so sleep deprived.
Hmm.
And it's talking about turning off your phone or turning off the screens at a certain time, going to your bed by a certain time, having different nighttime routines are going to be really important for people as well.
Hmm.
And understanding what supplements your body requires.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I've been uh, I've been called to check every supplement that I have and hold the bottle. Okay. Yes. No. Okay. I don't need that today. Okay. Move on.
Yeah.
But it is, yes, it is. And the world is changing very fast. There's a lot of
Very quickly.
energetic shift going on, very deep, very, mind-boggling because you see certain things shifting and you think, oh, it usually takes this amount of time, and all of a sudden it's like, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, very strong. Yes. And I believe, like you, this the year of manifesting, and I believe we're in the time right now that the manifestation is the most powerful one.
Oh,
I
it's
believe right now, March, middle of April, end of April, this is the time where whatever you request, basically, it, if you trust it, it's going to show up.
yeah, it's gonna start sprouting,
Right, right.
start germinating.
Hmm.
And you can start harvesting in October, just
Right,
depending on what it is. Some people
right.
are going to instantly manifest certain things really quickly, where other things do require time.
The proper
And so, depending on what that is, you have to take those inspired actions
time.
and
Hmm.
not just think that the universe is going to bless you with it because you thought about it.
Right,
You have to take the inspired action.
right.
And as you're taking those inspired actions, pay attention to all the beautiful synchronicities that
Mhm,
are happening and occurring because they love you and they want to support you.
mhm. Yes, I've been finding a lot of pennies all over the place.
Yeah, we call it, my daughter and I would call those treasures.
Yes.
Treasures.
Yes. And I always put them all back on my altar because I have a dish with all the coins that I find.
Aw.
And then I have one with all the feathers that I find because
Yeah, I
that's
do the feathers too.
right. So it's very important. So they see that I am paying attention,
Yeah.
even if I am in my days. No, I'm joking. So, what other things do you feel is important for people to know to really, sink in? And besides going to your website, because I'm telling you, I've been on your website, so I know there's a lot of beautiful stuff there, and my audience will definitely, I encourage them to go there.
Yeah.
But what do you see or that people really should know at this very moment, especially with
Yeah.
the shifts that are happening so quickly?
So the guardians are saying that slowing down will allow you to speed up. And that's the whole rest part. But the next piece to that is slowing down to hear the answers to your prayers, slowing down to get clarity on what you truly desire,
Mm-hmm.
slowing down to allow yourself to perceive the situations, the experiences, the people that you're encountering through a different lens. Because the lens that we perceive through is typically from the past. And I I can't make you perceive something different. The
Right.
person has to be willing to perceive something different. And it's understanding that you are the decision maker in your life. You hold the keys to the change in which you seek. And the more that you slow down, because we're in such an instant gratification world, and we're
Mm-hmm.
in such an illusion perception world because of social media. Like you look at social media and you look at these like beautiful, purely crafted, perfectly crafted pictures and videos that look like someone's life is absolutely perfect. And you have no clue if they're
Mm-hmm.
struggling with depression. You have no clue if that's all a facade or not.
Mm-hmm.
You have no clue what that is. And what's really important is that you pay attention to what you're doing and what your life looks like and how you perceive your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more that you decide to start perceiving yourself differently and capable and worthy, you start attracting those things more into your life. But you have to slow down to catch the thoughts or the words, the deeds, the actions that are preventing you from attracting those very things that you want in your life. Because your words and your thoughts are constantly casting spells, and those spells are creating the reality in which you're in. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't like the reality in which you're in, part of it is taking responsibility that I'm doing this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're the one that created this. And yes, bad things happen to good people. And it's just terrible that you had to experience those things. Trust me, I totally get it. But you get to choose how you continue to react to any of the situations and any of the experiences. And you get to choose to allow them to either be stepping stones,
Mm-hmm.
or you get to choose to allow them to knock you back. And it's all a choice that you get to make on a constant basis. And it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a character building moment or a character building chapter, or a character building book, because sometimes people have been in cycles for years and years, even decades. And you get to go, enough's enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with this. And I'm going to start to choose to do something different. And I know, like, for me, like, there was a pivotal point in my life where, like, I constantly was like boohooing about not liking the career I was in and feeling sorry for myself. And I remember the day, like, I went in and talked to like one of my coworkers, and I'm like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm going to give myself 2 years. I'm done. Like, I'm doing it. And it was like such an empowering moment, because I could remember the conversation clear as day. But those are those moments where you break yourself free from the conditions in which you perceive your reality. And those are the ones that really get to really change and allow you to be the change in which you seek.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. Perfect. And that could carry so many different definitions for everybody, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We have our own path, our own reality, and um, it's that's really empowering. I I when you were talking, I remember my certain points where it's like everything's just lifted in my shoulders, and I felt so much lighter. And it's like, oh, I know I made the right decision.
Yeah,
Whatever
you just
it was.
entered a new paradigm. Like, you
Yeah.
entered a new reality. You're like, bye.
And you cut all those cords, you cut all those ropes, all those chains, and you're like, oh, I feel perfect. And and the thing is that people focus on the fear of making change instead of focusing on the excitement of making change.
And fear and excitement
Yeah.
can feel very similar.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So just wanted to say thank you. Again, please give your website. I will have everything on the description so everybody can find you. But please.
Yeah, you can go to the Amy Robeson, and that's TheAmyRobeson.com. So theamyrobeson.com. And I have tons of free stuff. I have podcasts and blogs and lots of goodies on there for y'all.
Very good. Again, thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that you come back.
Thank
And so,
you for
thank
having
you.
me.
And to our audience, as always, many blessings. Take care of yourselves, and we love you. Bye.